So our evidence of earliest painting comes from prehistoric Europe and from Indonesia. Now in this short video, you'll see how our evidence of earliest sculpture comes from prehistoric Europe. But it really isn't any easier to understand. Indeed, when you're looking at art from a prehistoric culture, it's very difficult to understand why it was made and what it meant to the people. Especially because in prehistoric, as opposed to ancient culture, we still have no written script. So, how are we to understand the art of a, dead culture? As an archaeologist, people often ask me, are you still finding anything? Isn't everything already known in a way? There's nothing really revelatory? And for a while, I would tell them about this figurine. This is a small, note the scale, image of a human. Right? You can tell this is an image of a woman. And she was found in 2008 in a cave in Germany. The cave's name is Hohlefels, so we call her the woman from Hohlefels. And she's made of mammoth ivory, and she dates from material that was found near her in the cave. She dates to 35,000 BCE. Now she has some traits that we see in female figurines throughout the prehistoric period, from at this point up to, say, 3000 BCE. She has these large breasts, this clearly marked pubic area. She has hands, but then she also has features that we miss from other female figurines of the prehistoric European period. That is, she doesn't have a head and she doesn't have feet. That little knob on top is thought to be perhaps part of a ring. Maybe she was held on a string or worn as a pendant on a necklace. And here is another view of her. How are we to understand why she was made and what she meant? How she was used if she had a function? Now when the news got hold, the media got hold of this discovery, this is one headline from the Huffington Post, May 2009. The Venus, not the woman, the Venus of Hohlefels, prehistoric porn. Now, in that article, here are 3 comments. They're very different comments that help us begin that conversation with this artwork, help us begin to understand what she might have meant to the people that created her. So, the first comment, that by Jill Cook, a curator at the British Museum. Very factual statement. It's the oldest known piece of figurative sculpture in the world. Indeed it is. Now, a different comment on it that suggests a different line of thought is made here by Nicholas Conard. You should know Nicholas Conard is the director of the excavation at Hohlefels, so he's essentially the archaeologist that found this figure and is publishing her. And finally, this emeritus professor from Cambridge, Paul Millers, simply said, these people were obsessed with sex. Now, which of these comments says more to you about this figurine? I'd like you to consider these 2 questions. Stop the video and write down what kind of statements are these? Are they all factual? And then, what evidence would we need to understand the meaning of these small sculptures? Given that we don't have any writing associated with them, you can read in your textbook, why did people make figurines like this? Before this woman from Hohlefels was excavated, this was the best known female figurine from prehistoric Europe, the woman from Willendorf. You can read about her in your textbook. We'll do a video assignment that concerns her. But you can see she's not made of ivory, but she's made of limestone. She's covered with a red ochre. Some of it is still clear. And she has some of these same characteristics that most of the female figurines have from the Paleolithic and the Neolithic world. Especially, she has no facial features. She can't see, she can't hear, she can't speak. Here are some other female figurines made in other materials, in fired clay, and in a different kind of stone. Some rare instances do have facial features, like this beautiful ivory head from a site in France called Brassempuy. And you should know that not all of these earliest sculptures were of women. Some of them were of men, or at least partially of men. Here we have a half man, half lion image from a very early date as well, from the Paleolithic period. And we don't know if this is some kind of imaginative creation, or we're seeing an image of a man wearing a lion mask of some kind. But there were images of male figures as well. Not as many, but they existed. Now, if you compare here this earliest example of a female figurine from the Paleolithic period to one of the many examples we have from the Neolithic period, I want you to consider what is different in each of these. Stop the video and write down at least 3 points of difference between these two figures. Okay, do you have your ideas? Let me tell you that the Neolithic figure was found with another figure. They're both small. They're from a site, a Neolithic site in Romania, modern-day Romania. You clearly have a woman and a man. And the answer to the question as to what was so very different between the Paleolithic and the Neolithic figures has to do with what they're doing and how we know that this man and this woman seem to be doing something. So consider that, because the answer to that question is a huge difference between the sculpture of the Paleolithic period and the Neolithic period. Okay, so that's what I wanted to tell you about female figurines from prehistoric Europe.